on luck, bet on foresight. We're going to have a special guest react tweet from Valina Shakarov referencing Rogan. This is Thoughts from 5D. I'm Otis 5D. So this is about the fires. I think it's hard to not think about the fires right now. It feels like it would be super weird if I talked about anything else, but I have no interest in being like a news channel or something. So I want to just talk about like what this means to me. And for those who don't know, this was where the fires are. This is my home for a long time of my life. And a big part of the reason that I left, which was shortly before the COVID scamdemic, was because I felt ominous tidings in the air for what was to come, and I felt that people weren't seeing it. And so we're going to talk about that, but let's first take a look at Valina Chakarov's tweet. Valina is a good follow. I recommend following her. She's kind of like a geopolitics wonk type, but interesting, kind of heterodox in a sense. So she says she's referencing this clip that I'm sure went wildly viral of Rogan talking about how he talked with some firefighters in Southern California and how they were like, bro, one day we're just not going to get lucky and that shit's just going to rip through the city. I feel like even saying that I sound glib. I don't want to sound glib at all with this. Like even making this video is one of these like too soon things, but like now is when it's on my mind. So, I have to risk it, but I definitely don't want to come off as glib at all because that's not an accurate portrayal of my feelings. So anyway, and now here we are, just like some months later. And so Valina says, this is her take on this video. Never bet on luck, bet on foresight. That is preparing for the worst scenario while hoping for the best one. And the point of these Thoughts from 5D videos is kind of to just take my experiences and what's going on and try to offer something that might be of value to people. And I just remember so clearly, the way that I live is very close to the streets. I am a man of the streets. So when I'm in a place with public transportation, you best believe I'm on public transportation. If I'm in a place where it's cyclable, you better believe I'm on a bike. And so what that, and if it's walkable, I'm walking. So as somebody whose primary modes of transportation are walking, bicycles, and public transportation, you're really like close to the ground. You have a very felt sense of what is going on in that place. That's one of my favorite things about it. I just love it. Like even if you didn't get that, but that is like an incredible added bonus. You can think of it like, what's his name? Tom Peters, I think it's Tom Peters, who has one of the most famous investing books of all time called In Search of Excellence. And his investing philosophy is, I think it's called something like walk around investing, where you, in his time, in the 80s and 90s, you go to the mall and you walk around and you see what just has a vibe and you invest in that. And it's a similar experience of living where you're just you're on your bike, you're in the city, you're around, you're on the train, you're on the bus, you're walking around, you're interacting with the other people on the street. And if that's homeless, if If there's a lot of homelessness, then that's homeless people, etc. If that was the previous Santa Monica, that's a lot of amazing people back in the day, and so on and so forth. So the point is that I felt this massive decline occurring in the city of LA before COVID, and I would talk to other people, and they were like, I don't know, it's fine. I'm like, yeah, but bro, I had to like bike around a tent. I had to like go into the middle of the road because there's a fucking tent taking up the whole, bike lane or whatever. And they're like, yeah, I know, it's not great, And since I've been away, I talk to people, and the overarching attitude is like, yeah, it's not great, I'm not gonna lie, it's not great. And so what? And it's just like, oh, you just kind of adapt, and you don't really walk around that much anymore, and you try to find a place where you can just park like right where you're going, so you don't have to kind of be on the street, because you never know who's on the street. And it's like, wait, something is wrong here. Like, this is not good. This is not okay. And the feeling that I had is like, am I crazy? Because to me, it feels like people are just like fucking putting their heads in the sand. And I don't know, but all I have is my life, and like all my spidey senses are like, ain't nothing good coming this way. And man, I feel like I'm speaking too much. I feel like this is a way too soon thing. And I feel like this could come off as extremely insensitive. Oof, it's such a weird thing being an internet blah, 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 or where you're like, I don't know, how do you balance? Because at the same time of like, you're saying too much, bro, this was not unforeseeable. So let's go back to Valina. Let's like tie this together. Never bet on luck, bet on foresight. The feeling that I had was that the majority of the people I was talking to were betting on luck. Like, it's not so bad. It'll be okay. And it's like, well, what if it's not? What if this is like not good, what's going on here, and like something very bad could happen? And it's like, well, and so to me, this is not to rub anything in anyone's face or to say that anyone should have lived their life differently up until now. But going forward, it's like you have to pay attention to, I don't want to say you have to, I don't want to come off like this. It's a pretty valuable thing to pay attention to the signs of what's going on around you and try to find things that feel like there's a upward positive momentum occurring. And all you have to do is look on social media for the past 5 years in the major urban areas of the Western world, like, and centered in on California. And it's like, shit ain't sweet. And yeah, I mean, that maybe decades could have gone on where nothing like this happened, but that's betting on luck. And I just think that going forward in the world that we are entering into of humanoid robots and AI and mass surveillance that makes our current mass surveillance look like complete freedom, and people that don't have your best interest at heart, whether that's billionaires or whether that's the government or whether that's the Illuminati or like whatever the fuck, the ability to discern and make a good faith effort to read the tea leaves and try to skate where the puck is going, I think is going to be increasingly like a survival skill. And you see it. I mean, this is crazy what happened. Even the fact that it's so fucked up, the situation, that they tried to make a ceiling on insurance. And so the insurance companies were like, bro, the math doesn't work. We got to like stop insuring because they won't let us charge enough for what our models show we would need to make, it a viable business decision. And now, so many people lost their fire insurance, and now the huge fire happened. So, and that's a symptom of just retardation, like just all of this woke liberalism where everything is just about privilege and diversity and like everything other than merit. And people are functionally illiterate, including people like the mayor who she's like Biden, basically. She just read URL because they didn't put the website into her speech. Like, that's a retard. That's a full-on retard. So you're being led by retards, and they're also more important than functionally illiterate. They're enumerate. They don't understand numbers, so budgets and this and limitations is all about the patriarchy is holding us back, and that's why things are happening, not about tough decisions about what has to happen, and if we choose this, then we can't also choose that, and it's not because of white men. And if you're in a place that is being run in that way, there's this sort of like fuck around and find out that goes on. And again, I really don't intend to be glib or insensitive, and yet at the same time, like, we're seeing now how bad these things can get, and I don't even think this is near the bottom. I think this is like the middle of how bad things can get, and it's already arguably like one of the worst things in the history of Southern California. And yeah, it's fucking sobering. It's sobering as fuck. And that's the reality of betting on foresight rather than luck. It requires a lot of adversarial thinking. It requires a lot of disaster planning and worst case scenarios and like, what if negative trend lines continue and don't reverse and there is no mean reversion? Like, it's not unicorns and rainbows and like rainbow flags, and it's not edible pesto in WeHo. Like, edible meaning weed pesto. But so I don't know. I think beyond that, it's like beating a dead horse, and there's no more to really, like, it's all, everything's so fucked up, and it's extremely harrowing. But at the same time, I think that it's a sign of things to come, all over the place. And to see that your whole life can be turned upside down in one day, I think should give one pause as to how they're setting up their life in terms of resilience and optionality and the ability to maneuver, but at the same time, understanding that if you over index on optionality, you also miss out on other things. And there's no right answers. There's no easy answers. And that's the whole point. Wokeness gave a lot of fucking easy answers and retard platitudes. And now, the shit's on fire, literally and figuratively. And it's a lot, My heart goes out to humanity, really. And you know what to do. Go fuck yourself. Peace.
Otis5D.xyz.
Go fuck yourself.